are getting ready for game number 1 of the group stage. Today, 8 teams will have their hearts, dreams, and keys crushed, but destiny is in their own hands if they can grab it for themselves.
No doubt about it. This is the day when the big players, the big teams step up. You could hear there's fans there that have their favorites, the ones they're rooting for, and teams that are going to be under that pressure, under that gun to see if they can get it done today. And you've got a lot of big names in this lobby. You've got a lot of teams that still have some work to do to make sure that they are going to be able to get into that grand finals. Nothing is guaranteed just yet. There is still a lot to play for.
So many stakes that we're looking at. We've got PGC points. We've got club championships. We still haven't even tackled the grand finals yet. So it is full on pressure. You can handle it or you cannot. We heard it from Team Liquid. They were struggling on day 1, but no excuses. They know that if they fail, if they succeed, it's due to them and no one else.
Precisely, Matt. It is all onto you now. It's how you play today. It's how you come through in these big moments, in these big games. We're going to get kicked off for the last day of the group stage on Erangel. The grassy pastures is where we will find ourselves. And there's so much going on in this lobby. It's actually insane. I mean, so many amazing teams, surprises here and there. Real quick, I have to touch on the fact that after FN Pulchon had such a good day yesterday, they have to come in with a sub today. Not exactly sure what happened there, but that's brutal to lose Rex, who is in this lobby in terms of like their group, I should say, that has only played one day. He is one of the best. Like, he is 13 kills, and there are only a couple other players in that category with him, one of them being Shrimzy. So to lose Rex today is a big deal for a team that was a surprise yesterday and has a real shot to get into that grand finals.
I mean, the desk was talking about it. We've had so many teams just step up. It's been hard to kind of figure out what is like the group of death as we're going through the group stage, because we've had so many curveballs and we've seen so many teams that are really, they need big days today. I mean, Team Liquid, we were talking about a second ago, AGAL, they need to step up. These are 2 squads that we definitely know can do it. Centered Circle, going to make it a lot easier for these guys. Not quite so crazy. Rock, the only team that opted to go down towards military base itself, but they have easy pathings to make it back into the main island, so nothing to be concerned with just quite yet. Interestingly, though, we've got Potato as a due-up center point, and not a lot of teams really dancing around it just quite yet. But we do have Tiggleton that is already stretching and getting pretty close to death row.
Yeah, this is a nice early start for the Falcons. They are really stretched out, going to have a lot of zone control early in the center here, and they are trying to do their best to just get into the center, get those points, get further into this game. AGAL, another team that really needs a big day. You're expecting, especially with the star-studded squad that they have, that they're going to be able to find some more points, find some better situations, and this circle could be an opportunity for that.
I mean, there's nothing too crazy, no big curveballs as far as way we're looking with circles. But with having Falcons already in a good position to kind of regroup and get into the circle, we also have AGAL just closing the other side of Death Road. We've got Gen.G, who's been on their own mini tear. They're over in Pachinki, very, very close, and then Petrichor Road up on top of it. That means that the Cinder has already got a lot of very strong fraggers, especially whenever we count in the Freaks are just to the north of that. So teams where we're looking at VP, TL, this is going to be a hard rotation for these guys to potentially deal with. Geeke, the squad that the desk was talking about that had a lot of expectations coming into this one, they're all the way up in Zarki, and this is going to be a really tricky one for them because the way that the circle is playing, and it's playing a bit further to the south, and it's got a little bit of that military in it, means the river is just right up against the northern part of the circle, denying a lot of decent rotating paths.
No, you're exactly correct. I mean, there is worlds where you're going to be able to drive all the way down through Sosnovka to get back up in towards the northern part of the circle through like the eastern side bridge that BL is crossing right now. But yeah, it is really difficult. So teams that can play edge well are going to not be too fussed by this, like VP. Mm-hmm. I think they're perfectly fine seeing a circle like this because it does lend itself to their play style. But for a team like DK, yeah, you have concerns. Maybe they're comfortable with it, maybe not, but the first day didn't look comfortable. So that's where you're kind of worried about a team of their caliber that we've seen be very strong in the past. So Now, we do have a quick look into Rock, who's making their rotations out of Novo. They're going to be crossing the northern bridge, and they're granted a lot of space. There's nobody that's going to be up there near Milta or Farm, really. So they've got a lot of room to at least get into the circle comfortably.
Well, I love the fact that Rock, you could see the reaction. Crowd loving their performances coming off of their day one. On top of that, being a bit of a hometown team right now, getting a ton of support on LAN, and you could see the reaction from the players. They were like, hey, this is what we need. You know, we're talking about some boos that have been going on. Rock, who has been performing incredibly well, now getting some chance, getting some energy being thrown behind them. I can't wait to see what they do today.
Right there with you. I'm really happy that Rock is getting some support, and it's well-deserved after how well they played on the first day of the groups. This is
Love
a team
Fantastico.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, Fantastico, BL, I mean, RBN as well. Like, these guys are great. Souls is having solid performances, but really it's kind of that duo of Fantastico and BL that you feel like are going to lead the charge for Rock. But I liked the like, once they got confidence, once they had that one good game, then they just took off running. Then they were taking more aggressive fights. You know, once you got to that rondo and they played well, then they were just putting up points. They're putting up kills. They're making aggressive maneuvers to capitalize on teams that were in bad situations. So it's things like that that kind of can be turning points for a team in a tournament where they can learn very quickly what they need to do and how they need to adapt.
Well, we've been watching just an evolution of Rock just over the last couple of PGSs into EWC, and it's just so cool to see them coming more into their own, finding out how they want to play, because that's one of the core things I love about PUBG is there's so many different ways to play the game, and what worked for you in the last event may not as a meta changes up, so you're constantly having to evolve who you are, and Kurt manages to get a good shot onto Ranger X and just drop him out of that car.
Oh my god, that is filthy, Kurt. Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
Boo Team Liquid some more. It doesn't look like it's going to phase them too much.
Yeah, man, that is nice. But we've seen this from Liquid yesterday, where they get an early kill, they get an early pick, and then they're not able to really use that to springboard into further situations where they can find some damage, find some kills. You know, it was a pretty grindy day for them. 25 points is way less than I would have expected.
I think that everybody is kind of shocked by that. But I mean, they did miss out on the PGSs. There is something to be said about coming back into LAN and how that kind of like can burn you a bit. You know, you're kind of having to knock back off the LAN jitters a bit. And I know they'll keep saying, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Liquid's in first in the club championship right now. It's fine. It doesn't matter that we missed the PGSs, and now PGC points are going to be a lot harder for us to get. But you know, it's in the back of their heads. Just every single time they're trying to do something.
I call BS, yeah.
Yeah, you know it's there. I don't care. I know you, Kurt. I know you can't have all of the content that you push out where it's just like brutal, honest, truth content and be like, oh yeah, there's no pressure that Team Liquid's in first right now. Yeah, it's fine.
If he told me he wasn't nervous, I'd be like, yeah, sure. But it's going to be in your head.
Yeah.
It's inescapable. You just have to have those things going on as a competitor. You know the situations because people are going to be talking to you about it, whether you like it or not. You know, it could be people in your own organization.
You saw in the interview whenever Bella was like, hey, and he was just like,
yeah.
Your mouth says one thing, but your eyes say a different thing. So here's GK making their long rotation over from Zarky. They have T5 pretty close to them. T5 on a tear of their own. I mean, they were popping off pretty big, so good job on scouting this out and getting some distance away from them. Team Liquid that we were talking about still has looped up on Everest. That's going to be south of the river. The other member's going to be rotating pretty close to the red zone, but everybody else pretty settled right now. Not too much dicey going on, which is surprising because we have been seeing the start of every single game for the other 2 days being way more violent.
Yeah, generally we've been seeing some either rotation traps or kind of early scuffles over vehicles or something like that, but this one seems to be pretty fair and square. But this is a much more fair circle, to be honest, compared to some of the ones we've got. So this one kind of feels like everybody has a pretty good idea early of what they want to do, what their opponents are trying to accomplish, and you can see just a few little movements here and there on the map with FN Polchon trying to make a bit of a rotation. Geek finally coming in from the northern side. T5 wants to, I believe, get that res going for themselves, is my assumption why they're chilling around the crashed plane up there. So everybody just going to be doing a little vibing, it seems. You do have Virtus.pro watching their flank. They should see Geek coming, so they can play a little bit of defense in terms of thwarting them away.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of momentum that hinges on this very first game for these squads. Specifically, whenever we look down and we can see AGL kind of down from that. I mean, you can kind of even put VP in there, but I mean, if you're holding about 30 to 35 points, you're holding the average from yesterday, and you really just kind of have to replicate that. Sure, 30 to 35 points isn't the best, but you're on target. It's down below that where pressure is going to be mounting. I mean, we have the last PGS champions in BB team. They're going to be one of their members inside of a red zone right now, but they've got compounds, so they should be fine. They're going to be playing over in the southeast. EK's long wrap is going to go around Yaznaya. That's going to put them potentially kind of close to Falcons, most likely VP. So they should be okay as well because they've got plenty of space to play around for the time being.
Yeah, anybody underneath TDT is certainly aware of their situation, certainly aware that they need to have pretty big days, and you'd love to just kind of get through with a nice, generous kill chicken dinner. Ooh, we're going hard to the east there towards Milta, towards Farm.
That's big for Rock. BB team twisted as well. So BB is going to have pretty much center control for the time being. Claps is going to be much more up into the north and the western sides. That AGL not going to have the cleanest sight lines from their positioning, so that's going to be a reprieve for some of these teams. Gen.G going to be rotating very close to it. TDT is going to be down next to Rock. FN looks like they're opting for a much longer rotation around. Curious to see on how they do that. They might be eyeing maybe going to military base, wrapping through. VP catching some airtime and a little bit of a roll, but manages to dodge out the borders. That roll probably just saved Nixie's life.
Yeah, Lucarux did lose a tire there, though. Not exactly sure. It might be a doozy from BB team, and he's going to get the knock even from downtown. A doozy finding some damage there, and AGAL already in trouble early, destroyed down. Flame gets the knock with the grenade. Petrichor Road trying to take advantage of all the chaos to make a rotation through a bunch of fire.
Just got to get through the cars. All right, you're fine, you're fine. So, pause off for just 1 second. Who would have thought whenever we see a crash between Gen.G and AGL, it's going to be Gen.G that has the momentum inside of it. You can see what's going on the map. There's a lot of shifts back and forth just because the crossfire positions that are set up. We've got Falcons that are going to be in the north of it, and then over into the east, it's going to be twisted. And it is just a meat grinder in the middle.
All right, hear me out. I'd love to see Petrichor Road try to crash this compound that BBT is in. They've only got 3 players. They lost one early, and maybe if they can figure out that there's only 2 here, because you do not want to be in this Wizard House. It is very, very dangerous as the game rolls on, and a lot of teams are going to be kind of funneled into that direction, assuming the circle just kind of keeps centering up a bit.
We just had Ranger X get dropped back off, but he's pretty far away from everybody. The rest of the squad has yet to come in, so we did see a blue chip come in and be a factor. VP, it's just a struggle, man. They can't find anywhere to stop. Like they thought that they had a good point, and then it's just been trying to do damage control, and it is just not happening.
Yeah, and that's another team that very much could be in contention for the club championship, but they need a win in an event. They don't have a win in any of the games here at EWC, so they can't technically qualify to win because you need to at least have the
European specialty. Just get there off of placement.
Yeah, but they need a win here, so they need to do well today. Not the start they wanted, losing too early. Going to be tough for them, kind of stuck in that shelter unless the circle just is very generous to them to get much going. Team Liquid going to be coming in very, very late for this, and they're going to be coming around the backside of Geekay, who fortunately maybe for Team Liquid is making a bit of a rotation up around the southern side of the prison, trying to get closer into the lumberyard.
I mean, the fans might be able to get a bit of what they want, as it's going to be pretty close to Falcons as well. So Geekay twisted Falcons, all the gatekeeping positions on this one. Team Liquid feeling that pressure, being much slower, being very methodical, trying to make sure that they scout everything. But as you start making your way up that hill, you're going to start losing a lot of vision and really driving blind. And I think that we can see that Geekay has one of the members around prison that might be able to spot it out. Gen.G right on the edge of the red zone. They've got themselves a sharper that's going to be close. And yes, Voltron did actually go all the way down and around, so being a bit slower in their approach.
Yeah, they had Star-Lord watching from the northern coast of Sosnovka Island to make sure that the gas station was open and that they could make this rotation across the bridge relatively safely. Now, bad news for them, I would say, is considering what we saw in the early part of yesterday, is TDT is there, and they were really fearsome in some of their individual moments, so might be a team, very likely be a team you're going to have to fight if you want to get into this next circle, or unless they try something a little crazy, if they can maybe scout that some of the farm might be available for themselves, but going to be tough as TDT is making a rotation in towards Milta, might be looking to play that northwest corner of the city. Petrichor Road still just chilling in that wizard tower, kind of trading barbs back and forth with BB team, and T5 trying to get Ranger X back in the mix.
That's my thing about it is T5 up into the north is not going to have any pathing. I mean, just look at the wall that's just over there. We still have Gen.G that's going to have to brute force their way yet again. It looks like they might be leaning more into that sharper side. FN, I think, is going to be pretty content just to get a stop off right here. They're inside the safe zone. They have no information on anything that's going on except for the fact that TDT just crossed in front of them. And it's going to be kind of hard to get information over here, as really the closest thing you're going to be able to see is Rock and Farm, and that's a strong position for the circle.
It really is. You like Farm here, you like BB team's position, you like CTG. Those spots right there tend to be kind of funnels for action, where you can just keep things set up defensively, hold the line. As we do have, I believe that's a recall there for Tosi, trying to get back with the rest of Gen.G as they're still kind of trailing AGAL. Tosi, he should be A-okay to get back down, just depends on what's left in that house for him.
I think that we've seen 2, maybe 3 different teams kind of pass around this location, so I don't know what Tosi is even going to have available. Maybe the other guys for Gen.G left some stuff behind for him. We have seen that kind of be the way you handle it. Yeah, there's the crate right there, so they marked out a point where somebody was going to be dead. Probably his own crate, maybe. I think that might have been right.
I think it is. I think it is, yeah.
So he should be pretty good. I mean, he's going to take some blue damage early, but he should be fine. Only problem with it is if you pick up the loot from whenever you died, all your armor and helmet is wrecked.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing.
It is better than nothing. That is absolutely the case.
By like 20%, I guess.
Yeah, but what's interesting is they've had Bean kind of trying to silently trail AGAL to make sure that Gen.G could set up for their next maneuver if they need to. Let's see if they're just going to want to try to crash this. Bean tries to spring into action, does a ton of damage. I think this is just a fight waiting to happen.
Okay, how bad do you want it, Gen.G? I mean, they've been vibing. Being set up, and here it comes. Big push coming up from Gen.G. They're just going to crash in hot and heavy, but look at the read. Tycon Isaki already fine too. Flamin' Orca down. Imas doesn't have the angle that he wanted onto it, but you can see Gen.G instantly regretting. Tosi coming in back behind it, and this has been full on stopped.
A bit curious here for Bean. Oh, what a grenade. Imas making quick work of it, but Bean did not throw out a smoke early as he is going to go down. Gen.G wiped right out the gate. A team that came out so hot is going to go out early, but I'm surprised he didn't throw some smokes there to set up for that push.
Interesting fact, AGAL at 5 kills, all of them Gen.G.
That's true. You are 100% correct.
I haven't seen that one before, I don't know. So, all right, Sharper, you're over here to the north. You're having to contend up against Freaks, but Salute already down is going to make that way easier with the way the circle popped. Farm's going to be pretty much centered up. Into the north, we also have a couple of small skirmishes that are going to be brewing. T5 is going to be in the thick of everything as Twisted's going to be gatekeeping them due south. Luke's going to be on the other side, as well as sparking Curdy for Team Liquid. Falcon's kind of eyeing this one, but I don't think that they want too much out of it. Team Liquid realizing that getting some kills early can really feed them up that leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game here as Liquid, you're looking to do some damage and then maybe make a easterly rotation. But they're losing tires and their vehicles are getting beat up here by Twisted Minds, who's also angling in this direction. Falcons taking advantage of T5 being in a prone position in a spot where they just can't really do much. And yeah, I don't think T5 is long for this lobby.
Yeah, the matter is just going to be who gets the kills on it. Team Liquid wants them bad. Falcons, though, looks like they've been trying to see what they can salvage off of it. Twisted wants to get inside the circle, so that's going to open up more pathing options for Team Liquid, as well as maybe T5 if they can weather the storm of bullets that are raining down on their heads. Team Liquid's going to be coming in this pretty late. I do like, though, that we are seeing Team Liquid realize, okay, we need every point, and we need every point early. We're going to start playing more aggressive for it. This is a squad that is very heady, but often can sometimes be their own detriment. Instead of just realizing, dude, we can frag the world. Let's just frag the world.
Right. Sometimes you get caught up in these situations where you overthink things and you make decisions and you're like, this should be safe, and what you should actually be thinking is we should be taking some fights. In this case, Team Liquid, I think, making a good decision. Yeah, Falcons, but X-Grizzit hits a headshot with the SKS. Only one more bullet, can't get it to connect. H-Win, a little bit of a reprieve there to get behind the buggy. But
Perfectix does hit a shot onto Shrimsy. That does stall out a bit more. Oh, Tiggleton drops in right on top of that Molotov.
That was kickstarts.
That's a problem. And now Falcons, they are firm gate kept by Twisted as well as Sharper. And This is going to be a very difficult rotation. They do have one of their down teammates. They're going to try to roll through. There's not a lot of options, and there's nowhere to go. Jedi reads that one perfectly.
Well, I think this is about done and dusted for the Falcons as well. Twisted Minds angling in this direction. There's a random player from Pero here. Ming Ming must have got stuck in transition, couldn't get to the rest of his team, and he's going to go down. Twisted able to deal with him. Batulin's the only one lost so far. Lou in a battle with H-Win out in the blue, and actually Lou gets taken down by the blue itself, so H-Win did enough to at least get the knock. Has that blue zone bag for just a bit longer.
Falcons are in trouble, but they haven't gone down just quite yet, and that's created a lot of problems. Petrichor Rhodes hopped inside their vehicles, and they're just roaming right over here. Nexus, now Twisted has to be cautious of this new angle of approach. T5 still outside the blue, up into the northeast. They have no pathing options now, as there's been a new contender that's holding them out. Meanwhile, Team Liquid trying to keep the rampage rolling as they've spotted out tail end of this, pick up another one, but it is going to come at cost, losing Alo.
You know, could go for a res. It's not too far away, but you got to deal with this fight first. TDT has the blues up on the hill. They're throwing out some mollies there, trying to see if they can keep that player trapped in there. And they catch some damage. Hello, GK is going to just box these two teams in.
So we can see everything setting up. This is going to be a Herculean task for Team Liquid to have to move forward. Let's get a listen in to see how they're going to navigate it.
Can we saw the smoke one? Yeah, I threw one smoke and I threw a cover flare as well. Loot these bodies real quick. I think they might have left this yellow. I think I'm just gonna.
I think they might be playing the ball. You alone, Luke.
Okay. The sun went out. I'm gonna just.
They're getting knocked by GK.
Yeah. Okay, one up.
Should we take blue?
They got knocked from the ball, okay?
He's a gas here, be careful.
Okay, we need to kill main yellow, guys. Yeah, let's go. Push the yellow right now. He's inside. Right?
That could be a knock there.
Front left. There's two there. C4 here.
Guys, I think we need to take blue right now.
People on the ball.
In front of GK. That's what I'm doing.
Bolt it out, guys. Front of yellow.
Is that? Can you play heals maybe?
I'm gonna try.
They're getting knocked in the back. We might be able to fucking kill them right now.
There's a body here, two bodies here, Petty. And I have first aids. Drop first aids.
Okay, that didn't go the cleanest. And while they have been picking up a lot of firefights, Team Liquid needs to get points, only sitting on 3 kills right now. They're going to take those shots at GK, force them away, but while this is going on, Ponchon has moved into the circle and now is kind of holding out the new position. So Team Liquid, GK both in some trouble. Sparking wants to make something happen, but man, this is a hard hill to push up right now.
Yeah, I mean, Sparking getting a little bit of help though from FN Pochon. They've done some damage to GK. He's looking for some damage into BB Team, who's gotten beat up by CTG up on the northern side of the circle. In fact, they're just wiped out. So Sparking there, you know, wanted to get a little bit more aggressive, wanted to see if they could counter rotate, get ahead of GK. And he's trying his damnedest to get there. Still DL as well here for the Freaks, looking to see if he can go fishing through the smokes. Perfectix alive in the blue. Pretty Curdy as well had a ton of first aids and trying to shimmy his way forward.
Okay, this is mounting up. We were talking about the early game being pretty chaotic. Nope, mid-game this time around, not a lot of options to work with. Sparking does pick up at least 1 kill for this one. He's right in the face of Diffx, though, as the smoke's going to be between them. 23 alive. Sparking needs to move forward. 1 HP. No, he's going to go down. A little bit of damage going to be enough combined in with the blue zone. So Sparking trapped out in the blue zone right now, and I think it's changed the game. That might have spotted him out, taking shots, slowing his approach.
Yeah, Diffix trying to get a heal through himself, but hard to imagine he's going to survive much longer. Tons of bullets raining in, and yeah, the blue is just going to finish what a bunch of other players started. Purdy Curdy is still out there, still out in the blue. I mean, FN Pochon, they've got a great foothold here in farm. They've got Zenith even close to Rock's positioning on the northern half of the farm, right outside of a fence there. Perfectix just trying to hang on as long as he can. AGL taking some of those ditches that are out to the west of farm. That's about all you have to work with. Not much going on in the circle, and DL has the shack.
I mean, we're looking at this in-game circle just being the bowl of the valley coming down into farm itself. So Rock getting this position early, great for them. They've been able to defend it up. Nobody's been able to really encroach in. I mean, Zenith is getting pretty close over there, but it's just teams coming in absolute tatters and shambles right now. As you can see, Purdy Curdy trying to creep his way in. AGAL does have some control over the western side. Perfectix in a similar position to Purdy Curdy trying to come in from the north. Change the game. Kind of the odd team out is there's no real easy. Kurt spotted out, does go down, but at least managed to pick up some points.
Yeah, a little unfortunate there for Karan that he couldn't get that kill. The blue ends up being what finishes Purdy off. Perfectix, 2 more first aids. Still quite a ways to go, actually. I don't know if he's going to be able to get there. Jedi does get Hung Tuai in transition. More players falling for CTG. They have to make a dangerous rotation. There's just too many angles on them, and they're getting cut apart.
Shocked that they managed to make it into the circle with the amount of teams that were going to try to make something happen there. While this is going on, AGAL does shift into the south. Perfectix is still alive up into the north and has spotted this. Tian still being alive over here, just trying to slow down anything coming up from Sharper, but just too many different angles. Perfectix does spot him in that high ground, so picks up another point. And Perfectix just looks down that hillside. 9 kills right now for Twisted, and Perfectix can potentially get more, looking right into Sharper. But here comes Rock, here comes AGAL. Everybody sees him. He took that one shot, and now 3 different teams are trying to pop him as the last member up for Twisted.
Yeah, he's just trying to survive as long as he can here, seeing if maybe he gets lucky and, you know, another player falls somewhere along the way, but has to go out into the blue and just going to concede. No points given over to anybody else. Knew he was dead to rights at that point. This next circle, very important here though, Matt, because with Rock's compound going to be in no matter what, kind of depends on which way it shifts, who can kind of hold the line, who has to make a move, because if it shifts like northeast, then maybe somebody like AGL or FN Pochon has to make a move to try to contest Rock's space inside of this farm, because right now they have full zone control.
Pochon is going to be in a weird spot right now with this 2-1-1 split. Zenith is right next to Rock, so that does open up an opportunity for them to actually take a later game fight with Rock. AGAL is on the outside of it though, but AGAL is kind of leaned more down into the south. Ooh. Circle Pops actually leans more into the AGAL favored position, so really bad news for DL. Poor Bob saying head's going to have to make a long run with Pochon kind of looking at him. Sharper, I think, only really has to move a couple of meters, but that couple of meters means the fact that there is no cover to be had.
Yeah, this is difficult for Sharper. Is there enough room in some of these rolling hills that you can tuck in and avoid the sightlines of Rock? It's going to be tricky. Otherwise, you just got to think about making a crash towards AGL and trying to take the other side of the hill that they're holding on to. But AGL is lined up and kind of looking ready for a fight. You know, I could see Hemas very keenly aware of Sharper's position. So it's just going to be a difficult maneuver that they're going to have to try to make. You're going to have Rock shooting at you. And the real question is what does DL do? What does FN do?
Also, AGAL, at the amount of kills that they've got right now is absolutely crazy if we think about it. This is the start of the last day of groups for a squad that we know can frag, and coming out the very first game, finding kills, starting to find more comfort inside of these firefights, now getting a bit of circle love as well. This could be pretty big. FN making a push. They're just going to roll right it. This is open. They know it. It's safe. Does manage to stop off. So with the Star-Lord is very far back behind it, they're watching. Sharper's going to try to use the distraction that was set up down in the south, see if they can manage to get into the circle. Garland, seeing if maybe he can hold off Santastico, is going to get enough. But look, now everybody from Rock is being pulled 2 different directions. That's giving more control to AGAL.
Yeah, this is very nice for AGAL. Sharper just trying to kind of slowly creep forward here, find little hillsides, use some of that cover that they're able to create, but that's a big knock on a Star-Lord as he's trying to get through the fields. Knocked by BBL, so that's going to slow down FN. Karan there going to be tasked with trying to provide cover, but AGAL has found an angle into this fight. Zenith gets knocked. He's flushed. FN Pochon in trouble.
Rock doing a good job on their defense. They've become the focal point for so much. Pochon in so much trouble right now as here comes the collapse. Rock actually surrendering a lot of the north just to go ahead and finish out, make sure that nobody is harassing them down into the south. They're just going to run down into this when they know exactly where he's at. Just going to chase them all. That's it. Pochon now out. Rock's now going to be able to focus in more into the west, but this has allowed Sharper as well as AGAL to set up a much better defense than I thought was going to happen.
That's fantastic defense there by Rock. I mean, yeah, they get a little help from AGAL, but they're proactive in that defense. Once they realize that FN is weak, especially after that second knock, they just pounce. They start throwing stuns and frags, and they just identify where those players are and completely wipe them off the board. That is very well handled by them, and just, again, showcasing how good they have been in this group stage. Now, Sharper still has a little bit of room, but you know, you can see there that Earth is trying to find an angle, and he's just enough outside of the circle that he's going to have to scooch forward one way or another, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do so safely. Hard to say.
I mean, I don't even know what you do here. There's not much that Sharper has to work with. They've got that ridgeline kind of near the road, but it is so right along the edge of the zone. It doesn't give you much in phase 8 because you're going to instantly have to move forward already. Rock, with the compounds, of course, has some safety for now, but they can get pretty close to the circle. Everybody's not in a comfortable position to really assault and take control of the center of the circle.
You're exactly right. The center of the circle is on a plateau.
Yeah.
It's just in a really uncomfortable spot. So you got to just kind of hold your line and kind of wait for somebody to have to make a move and hope that they have to make the move before you and you can punish that. Is Himas just going to use that foldable shield? This is a great example of why you would love to keep one of these things in your car, in your backpack for these late game scenarios, because in open circles like this, it gives you a little bit of an extra advantage. He's going to shift it just a little bit further forward, trying to find a better angle into Sharper, hoping that once these smokes wear out, him and Haisaki can make quick work of these two players up on their north.
AGL realizing the threat and the problem. Sharper leaning more west with 2 of their members means AGL has an assault problem right next door to them, where Rock only really has to deal with the solo next to Rosette. So they have a much bigger opportunity. Multiple members from Rock have already actually left the compound. They're starting to dance around the lower section of that hill. You can see RBN. They've got that ridge line that's right at the top of your screen that you can see over there. Everybody leaned back. This is your center dot. Nothing to be had. There's a small ridge a bit close to Rock that they can use, and a tree that AGAL can use. Sharper's got nothing. They've got their car, they've got their hopes and dreams, and Jedi trying every mind trick that he can do. These are not the headshots you were looking for, as now Himas wants to go. He's got the nade up, but he takes too much damage. He goes down. Nade goes a bit far too. That's a problem for AGLs. Now Rock might be trying to backstab.
That's a pretty big mistake there from Himas. Couldn't get the damage that he needed. Exquisite finds the knock on to Santastico. She's trying to get out there, but BL able to respond with a grenade there, and that's the flank player, the solo player for Sharper down. 2 players stuck on this western edge, trying to use smokes to just take the fight against AGAL. Maybe get second place here. You're going to have a tough time taking a fair fight against Rock.
I mean, all right, Sharper, you guys are trying to take this. You have nothing, and you're fighting tooth and nail for everything you can get. There is no easy die in these guys right now, but only one up, trying to see if he can get something more out of it. Not going to be able to find a Haisaki. Runs out of the blue zone, narrowly makes it back in, but he is actually going to go down to a Molotov. Rock now steamrolling through it. They're going to pick it up and continue to just string together all the points that you can in this lobby.
Oh, what a just unbelievable group stage for them. They're just continuing the momentum. By the way, it was Jedi's Molly that got the last 2 kills onto AGAL. I just caught it in the kill feed.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Rock they're set. They don't need those extra kills. They're just happy to get some wins, happy to get the crowd pumped up.
This is also big because Rock coming in, picking up points. Anybody that's at the top of the leaderboard getting more points means the cutoff is going to get weird, because whenever we have sponges at the top eating everything, it means that there's less for everybody else. Therefore, the cutoff could move down a bit. So if we see continual control coming out from these top squads, that's going to be problematic. But AGAL making it in the later stages and fragging out in the first game, that's scary.